In this video, I'm going to discuss 5 ways to detect disharmony and imbalance in your health before they become disease using Chinese medicine. Welcome back to another video. I'm Professor Chi. I help people raise their vibration. Now let's get started. One of the first questions people ask me when they come in for treatment is, how do you find out where to put the needles? What do you do? How do you figure out what's wrong? I'm going to start with 5 very basic and simple diagnostic techniques that are used in Chinese medicine. Traditionally, the practitioner would have his desk facing the front door. So when the patient walks in, he could get a close look at him as they're walking in unobserved, because people will act like they really are and display their energy accurately if they don't think that you're watching. So ideally, you have your office set up so that your desk is facing the door, and maybe they can, you're hidden a little so the patient can't see you watching them as they're walking in. Because you can suss people out and figure out a lot of what's wrong with them, or their basic energetic imbalance, or their predilection towards imbalance, by the way they walk. Are they walking upright? Are they, stepping forward with precision? Are they, do they have their head up and they look happy? Do they have a certain amount of a demeanor of confidence about them? Or are they shuffling in, Are their shoulders slumped over? Are they looking down? Does their head hang a little? Are their steps, shuddering? Do they have a kind of a walk that is not confident? Now these things seem obvious, and we all can tell that, but they're not really used much in Western medicine, unfortunately. I mean, they certainly were in years back, because Western medicine has become addicted to diagnosis with machines. So the doctor, these Western medical doctors, they don't trust what they're actually seeing. In Chinese medicine, it's the exact opposite, because all the diagnosis is from me, from the practitioner. The practitioner has to use their common sense and their trained perception. Chinese medicine practitioners, medical practitioners, they can appear to be almost, psychic or really perceptive in the way they can suss people out, because that's what we're trained to do. We're literally trained to pick up on the cues of what is wrong with people. Chinese medicine, in many ways, is a body of knowledge, empirical wisdom of what people look like when they're ill. Things like the way they walk, the color of their face. One of the first things you notice when a patient comes in, and this is the second thing you notice, the first thing we'll notice is the way they walk in. Furthermore, to go a little further about how people walk in, if they're walking in very quickly and they're striding, a little too aggressively, well, that's saying something as well now, isn't it? That's showing that they have not too much energy, but they're a little too full of themselves, They have perhaps what we call false fire. So they have a lot of energy, but it's the kind of energy you get from a lot of coffee. It's the kind of energy you get from the power in your job, let's say, or the kind of energy that perhaps you get from actually being deficient, but you overcome it with stimulants. You overcome it with an attitude. And these things will affect your health, dramatically affect your health. Just like the person that's shuffling in doesn't have enough energy. Right away you can tell they are qi deficient. Their energy is not up to par. And of course, now you're just not going to say, oh, I can see right away that what's wrong with them. No. This is the first little step. In Chinese medicine, it's not just 5 clues. I'm giving you 5 basic clues. I'll do another video to give you 5 more, because there are literally hundreds of clues about how to find out what is wrong with people and what to do to help them. The second thing you'll notice is the color of their face. Now, people that are like the person that is confidently striding in a big hurry and all full of themselves, they'll probably have a red hue to their face. And that's a sign of high blood pressure. That's a sign of all the energy in the top part of their body and not a lot of energy in the lower part of the body. They're very young. They're very aggressive, perhaps. Maybe not aggressive, maybe they be passively aggressive. But their system is working overtime. They have too much fire, as we call it in Chinese medicine. Fire in the sense of too much metabolism. Conversely, if they are very pale and perhaps even a little blue look about them, then they're very cold. They don't have enough metabolism, and perhaps they have anemia. A very pale face will show blood deficiency, maybe a low-level anemia. Perhaps not the anemia that's picked up in Western medicine, because in Western medicine, to be anemic, you have to be extremely blood deficient. In Chinese medicine, we look for the early clues to what's wrong with you. Not waiting until you're obviously very ill, but the energetic dysfunctions, the imbalance between yin and yang. Too much energy, not enough blood, let's say. Then other signs about their color, perhaps they have kind of a greenish color about them. This is showing an imbalance in the wood element and the liver. They have a bit of a jaundiced look about them. Their face is kind of greenish, and perhaps the sclera in their eyes, the white part of their eyes, has a little bit of yellow in it. This is showing too much bile in the system. Their liver's not properly metabolizing. Perhaps it's backed up, but this is just a clue. The third thing that you notice right away is their voice. For instance, my voice is strong. So right away you get the impression, he's got a lot of chi. And then somebody comes in and they're timid and they have a little voice like this, and well, that's indicative that they are energy deficient. They're a bit chi deficient. Furthermore, oftentimes people with a very timid voice like that, they may have imbalance in the gallbladder. Now, I realize that may seem completely unbelievable to you, but it's true. Oftentimes people with a very timid voice, you start to talk to them and sure enough, they've had their gallbladder removed. It's because the force of the liver has nothing to hold on to that force. It doesn't have a gallbladder. So inner decisions the gallbladder is about inner decisions. So they're indecisive in a very profound way. But I digress. This is a bit more of esoteric and advanced forms of diagnosis. But the voice gives tremendous clues to what's going on in the person that you're looking at. Also, the rate that they speak at. If they're speaking very, perhaps they have a normal voice and they're speaking in very measured tones, and they are speaking like I am speaking right now. Well, you know right away that person is either very well trained in neurolinguistics or they're overthinking. They're thinking everything out before they say it. Well, that is indicating something wrong in the spleen element, the earth element. They're overthinking. This is one of the principles in Chinese medicine. When people overthink, it will affect their digestion. Now, not just that, I got a stomach ache, but digestion in the sense that they have trouble digesting the world itself. They have to think it through. Everything has to be thought of. They have trouble digesting the information that's coming in. They can't just accept it. They have to digest it first. They have to think about it. That will, in the long run, affect not just their digestion, their ability to digest food, but their ability to digest the qi from the oxygen that they're breathing, the inability to digest and create blood from the food they're eating. The mind has everything to do with how the body works. This disconnect between body and mind in Western culture and in Western medicine is one of the main causes, I feel, why it's such an unfriendly medicine. Because we all know that the way our mind is working is how our body feels, and in the long run, it affects it tremendously. And then another clue, the third clue, is what people smell like. Now, this may seem a little odd because in Western culture, we are kind of freaked out by people's smells. It's why we wear, especially now, everybody has scent on. Everybody's wearing cologne. It used to be in the past, only ladies wore cologne and they only wore it when they go out. My goodness, now everybody stinks like cologne. I mean strong like cologne. I like to tell my patients, please don't wear cologne when you come in because I want to smell, I don't tell them I want to smell what they smell like, but, it disrupts the qi in the office, in the clinic here, if they're stinking the place up. And we've just taken that for granted, like that's okay. But the way people smell gives tremendous information to how they're metabolizing their food, how their liver in particular is operating. And there's 5 different kinds of smell. I won't go into too much detail, but for instance, the rancid smell. A rancid smell is indicative that their large intestine is backed up and they're not digesting their food properly. And there's the acrid smell and a bitter smell. These smells are rather esoteric, but they are incredibly clear indicators to what is happening to the individual you're looking at. The 5th thing I want to talk about, and we all know this, the look in somebody's eye. That twinkle in their eye says so much about their shen, or about their spirit, or their ability to completely be who they are. Somebody's shin or somebody's spirit, when somebody has strong shin, that's the kind of person that lives up to their potential. They're able to manifest all the potential energy that is coming to them. Then you see, somebody walks in and they have a real dull look in their eye. And you start talking to them a little more, and they just lost their job, and their wife just left them, and I can't seem to get it together. No matter what I do, everything doesn't work out for me. Their shin is like dark. Their shin is darkened. They have trouble bringing everything together in their life because the spirit in their life, and I don't mean spirit in the religious sense. I'm not speaking of spirit like, the spirit of God. I mean the spirit of you, your spirit, your shin, your ability to manifest your absolute highest potential shows in the eye. And oftentimes when people are gravely ill and they come to you with chronic illness, if they still have nice shin in their eyes, they still have that sparkle in their eyes, the prognosis is better than it appears to be because they still have lots of shin. They still have the ability to bounce back. All of these signs and symptoms and patterns that are picked up from these simple ways of observing people, observation, are always confirmed with tongue diagnosis and pulse diagnosis. Tongue and pulse diagnosis combined with the information given on the intake form, which in Chinese medicine the intake form is pages long, you can get a very clear idea of what is wrong with people. Then from there, you start to treat them. And you use certain points for acupuncture and give them certain herbs. And if they get better, you were correct. If it doesn't work out and they're not getting better, then you reassess what you think you're seeing, and you use different kinds of points and different kinds of herbs, and then as they get better, you're sure that you're on the right track. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because you are practicing your skills to cajole people, to urge them to get better through the aids of acupuncture, massage, and herbs. Chinese medicine is an extremely effective way to get healthy and stay healthy. Until next time, this is Professor Chi saying thank you very much and talk to you next time.